Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for June 12th, 2024 to order. Would you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item 1C on the agenda tonight is the roll call of council members, and I'll ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Beaton? Here. Councilmember Brocksmith?
Here.
Councilmember Correas?
Here.
Councilmember Hudson?
Here.
Councilmember Molinar?
Here.
Councilmember Tesoro?
Here.
Councilmember Vanderstoop?
Here. Thank you, Becky. The adoption of tonight's council meeting agenda. Council, motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Beaton, a second by Councilmember Hudson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, we are moving on to community comments. If there's anyone in council chambers tonight who would like to address council, please come on forward to the podium, state your name and city of residence, and we ask that you limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes if you could do that. Anyone here for community comments tonight?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and staff. I'm Marion Myers. Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
And it's on. I'm Marion Myers from Cedar Heights, and I'm here to discuss our bioswale. It has been brought up by Chris Phillips of Public Works that because John Ravnick has described our bioswale as only being used for conveyance channel and not for biofiltration, that it does not need to be maintained as a biofiltration swale, and he can just maintain the bottom for flow. This is not true. There is, in a stormwater manual, infiltration best managed practices are okay for flow control. If you had an infiltration trench that did not perk well enough to take the water in, you can use that for a flow control facility. And that's exactly what John Ravnick is doing. He is using a bioswale for flow control for our, we not only have a bioswale, there's a best managed facility, continuous inflow biofiltration swale. This is where the water doesn't just enter from one end and go to the out. It has continuous input on the side, which is exactly what ours is. It comes in 16 times across the flow of it, and we have, there is a, anything over 12 inches of diameter in a storm drain or 12 inch in diameter trench requires ESC, erosion sediment control. And that is maintained by flow control of the bioswale, and it has to be grass. We have 6 of these facilities that are over 12 inches. Our bioswale is supposed to look like this. It's supposed to have, this picture, it has an access, maintenance berm, and it has a slope down and a bottom, a slope up. And this is how our preliminary drawing showed it. It showed it with, depicts it with the, again, a berm, an access berm, a slope down, a bottom, and a slope up. This translates in our drawings into something that looks like this, which is kind of hard to follow, because now you have something that says top for the berm edge, top for the berm edge, down to the bottom of the drainage channel to the top of the berm. And that is this. Now, Mr. Phillips has repeatedly said that he does not have to maintain the whole biofiltration swale. He only has to maintain the bottom. But this is what is depicted on our plat drawing and on our preliminary plat. It is the whole thing. You have to maintain the whole thing. You have to maintain it all the way up to excuse me, the berm goes out to the wetlands. Top is here. This should be grass, grass, grass. Up to the top, this is the fence line to lot 26. That's what it looks like. You have to maintain the whole thing. The thing that you have, the 12 inches over the deep channel or the storm drain means that you have to have that ESC thing, your erosion sediment control. By the City of Mount Vernon's Public Works Department not maintaining our bioswale, they have created exactly what the bioswale control flow was designed to prevent. We have, this is supposed to be, this is the berm, this is the bottom, that's supposed to be a grassy bottom. It's all bare soil and rock. It has been worn down 2 inches within here. This is supposed to be grass going up to the fence line. That's not what it is. This is further erosion up at the other end. There is no prevention for erosion anymore. It is gone. This had to be put in with the design of our bioswale, and if you don't do that, you're not in compliance. Right now, our bioswale is not in compliance with the DOE because we have no flow control, erosion control in our swale.
We're right at 5 minutes there, Ms. Myers.
That's I'm done.
Oh, okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm amazed at how you can remember all those facts and manage the visuals and all of that. You did that well. Other community comments tonight?
And I have a packet.
You can leave that with the city clerk. Yeah, great. Thank you. You can come on up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I get very nervous making impromptu comments, so bear with me. My name is Ellen Gamson. I live in unincorporated Skagit County. I work in downtown Mount Vernon with the Mount Vernon Downtown Association. Had the opportunity to sit in on your committee meeting just before this meeting and listen to WashDOT tell us why we aren't going to get what they told us we were going to get a year ago. And I feel like I understand a little bit better that it's because they're talking about a specific pot of money that only has to do with painting. Well, that wasn't really clear to us in July of last year, and maybe it should have been. But I feel like you're all disappointed. I know I'm disappointed, not just as a cyclist and a pedestrian, but because of the economic benefits that making all forms of transportation into the downtown corridor more readily available and safe would have. But what I heard tonight, what I heard Elizabeth Schustrom say was that the bridge is currently rated at a LTS, level of traffic stress 3. WashDOT finds only acceptable on today's bridges a level of traffic stress 2 is as dangerous as they want it to be. Mm-hmm. My question as we move forward for them is, why are they even painting a bridge that should be unacceptable to them if they were building it today? And I'm a historic preservationist, but I never put the preservation of history over public safety, and I doubt very much people in whatever office of bridge control or Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation would do the same. So I just want to encourage you all to keep after them. Let's take this disappointment, the momentum that you are feeling, that your community is feeling, and make them do something else with some other pot of money. And I'll support you in any way I can. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen, for your support. Mm-hmm. Other community comments tonight? All right, we will move along on the agenda. Tonight's next item is the consent agenda, and it includes meeting minutes, payroll checks, wire transfers, and claims. Council, would you like a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve our consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hudson and a second by Councilmember Beaton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, motion passes. And we're moving on to reports tonight. Council held its Public Works and Library Committee meeting, and Councilmember Gary Molinar chairs that committee. Gary?
Yeah, we opened up a meeting tonight at 5:30 to give us a little extra time to kind of discuss some of the things that were on the agenda. There was only two things. Jill Boudreau, our city, it's weird to say city consultant, but she's still working with the city, being a consultant on the library since she was very involved in that. She just kind of gave us some updates about the different money and how we're doing on the funding. It looks like it is pretty fully funded. We were able to get $12.5 million of reimbursements on an infrastructure grant. She also talked about the EV charging rates, and there was also talk about operations and time of keeping the library open and the parking garage itself. Also, issues with security, kind of gave a little overview of the security cameras and different things that are going to be used in the library itself and the parking garage to make sure it's safe. Next up, we had a very robust discussion with WashDOT representatives. There was James Magnuson, Chris D'Amato, and Elizabeth Sustrom. This is dealing with the painting of the bridge, what will probably happen starting in May of 2025. There's some definite security issues on that bridge if you've ever driven over it, especially with pedestrian traffic and bikes. We are still going to hopefully be in discussions with them to improve some of this, but we're kind of very disappointed that they were not fulfilling some of the things that they had said we would probably be able to do with the bridge itself next year. But right now, as it stands, the bridge will be painted in 2025, and it looks like a beautiful ugly gray color will be the color of choice. But I guess that is going to be open for debate. We might have some discussion about that. So anyway, that was about it. We closed the meeting at 6:58.
Not a fan of the gray.
Hey, most bridges are gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's better than rust.
It's better than rust.
Better than
Last week,
rust.
Councilmember Beaton chaired the Public Safety Committee meeting, and Councilmember Beaton has that report.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we had our public safety meeting last Wednesday evening. First, we heard from Josh Polonio, the Director of Skagit County EMS. He presented information about the Pulse Point Respond. It's a smartphone app that alerts nearby citizens trained in CPR and off-duty public safety professionals to assist victims with sudden cardiac arrest until first responders arrive. And then also a second app is called the Pulse Point AED, and that lets community members report and update locations of AEDs so that emergency responders, including nearby citizens, can find an AED close to them when there is a cardiac emergency. You can help build the community registry by using Pulse Point AED to describe the location of an AED and add a picture. This information is then staged for local authorities to verify, and afterwards, the AED location data can be made available to dispatchers and anyone using that particular app. Both of those apps are intended to increase bystander involvement in time-sensitive medical emergencies. Next up, our fire chief, Chief Bryce, presented an update to the EMS contract that we have with Skagit County that will be presented in August for approval. We then reviewed fire department staffing levels and incident response times. The 2025 projected revenue for the EMS levy is $3.6 million. We have capital needs for housing, that's our fire stations, equipment and staffing. We discussed immediate and long-term funding. From there, we mentioned that we talked about July 3rd, next Wednesday, is our next public, or 2 Wednesdays from now, is our next Public Safety Committee meeting, and we've canceled that because that's the evening before the 4th of July. And then under good of the order, our city attorney, Kevin Rogerson, addressed an immediate need to increase a part-time legal assistant position to a full-time position due to a significant workload increase. And with that, we adjourned at 7:06.
Great, thank you. Thank you both. Item 5B tonight is council member comments. Council members, it's open mic time. Yes, Councilmember Hudson.
Well, it dawned on me that sadly, this is Chief Chris Kamak's last council meeting with us as he's retiring. He's very sad. He's very
He
sad.
looks heartbroken.
I really just want to say thank you for everything. I know I'll still see you, so that's a good thing. But I just had to acknowledge the fact that this is the last Wednesday night you will have to spend with us. And I'm sure you might come in for a drop by every once in a while, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Carillas.
I have 4 comments. The first one is I would like to recognize publicly about the support from Kiwanis Club. We had at the ceremony last Tuesday for senior event award at the Mount Vernon High School for the graduates. We had 13 scholarship approved products from the salmon barbecue. From those 13 scholarships, we had 10 just for Mount Vernon School District. And from those 10, 8 were for migrant students. Thank you very much, Kiwanis, and all of the community for supporting us in that project. The second one is for peer-to-peer program, and I can see here some representatives here. I had the opportunity this afternoon to see them to present in MV Hub, and this program is from La Venture Middle School. And I think they're going to be here just to present it. But I want to say thank you for what they're doing. Amazing program, and I hope they can continue inspiring the youth in that program. My third one is say thank you to the city for the support, closing the street for the parade we have last night for the graduates, and it was so beautiful. Thank you very much to the city and your support, Mayor. And my fourth one is again to say thank you to Chris. You know you got our heart, and I hope to see you around forever because you're going to continue being my police chief forever, Chris. Thank you very much for what you do in the community, for our students, for our families, but mostly for all of us. You stay, and you're going to stay with us. Thank you.
Other council member comments? All right, we will move on to the mayor's report, which was cut drastically short once I looked at tonight's agenda. Also want to say thanks to Chief Kamek for a 35-year career here, and looking forward to celebrating and giving you a little bit of a send-off, celebrating your career this Friday at 2 at Hillcrest. Also, just wanted to acknowledge hiding in the corner of the room, and couldn't be more in the corner, is our incoming Chief, Dan Chrisman, who's here. So, hello, welcome to your first Mount Vernon City Council meeting. Looking forward to your swearing-in ceremony on Monday. So, for the mayor's report, just wanted to let you know about Mayor's Coffee. That is not just me going out to coffee. That's where I invite you to come and talk with me about what's going on at the city. And those of you who have been there before, been to a Mayor's Coffee, know that nothing city-related is off the table. You get to ask whatever, and I get to ask you for ideas as well. And we can communicate like residents and their government are supposed to communicate, and we can get things done. So hope you can make it. This time it's going to be at Skagit Publishing Community Room at 1215 Anderson Road at 10 a.m. next Friday. And if you have a business, if you work in a public facility and would like to host a mayor's coffee sometime, please get a hold of my office and we'll make that happen if we can logistically. So that is your mayor's report. Item D is agenda requests. Council, do you have agenda requests for committee or council? Okay, we will move on. Item 6 on the agenda is new business. Under new business, item A is a Hope Coalition presentation, and Special Projects Manager Steve Sexton will introduce this item. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I think it's really appropriate that we have actually two presentations this evening, and I'm so happy that they're both here this evening because they really reflect in a lot of ways bookends of some of the social service problems that we see in our communities, especially with drug use and those kind of things. The first one is MV Hope. As the council member was saying, it's a youth program to help keep kids from doing drugs and having a healthy lifestyle. And the second presentation is going to be from District Court Judge Jennifer Housen mainly on the community court, which is helping folks exit that criminal justice system smoothly and quickly and efficiently and moving on with their lives. So I think it's just appropriate that we have both of these at the same night. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Marie Carlson from the Skagit YMCA and her group. She's got some presenters for us this evening. So Marie, come on up and the floor is all yours.
We've got some nerves here, so I'm going to just give them a little bit of logistics. You guys will be presenting here, so you're just going to kind of line up here, and when it is your turn, you'll come up to the microphone. All right. Hi, I am Marie Carlson, and I am here representing MV Hope. And HOPE is an acronym for Healthy Outcomes with Prevention Efforts. We are affiliated with YMCA, and we work within the Mount Vernon School District to promote healthy curriculums at Centennial Elementary with Children of the Valley after-school programs, at various community events, distributing lockboxes and information on just safe storage of medications. But the program that is just really exciting right now and just has a lot of energy behind it is the peer-to-peer program, which is a mentoring program. We saw a need in the school district to have students have more leadership opportunities and opportunities to talk with their peers. The nice thing about this program is it is a zero entry program. You don't have to have a certain GPA. You don't have to have any sort of skills other than caring about your community and wanting to make it better. We are here from LaVenture Middle School and sharing some of the things that they have learned. What the peer-to-peer program looks like is it is a mentoring program that takes students that are identified as good communicators and good leaders within their community and respected, and then do a trickle-down method of high schoolers presenting materials to middle schoolers to elementary schoolers, because as we look at prevention, we're really looking at those younger elementary, middle school ages. And so this group has presented to Madison Elementary and also to our coalition meeting this afternoon, and they are very excited to do an abbreviated version of what they would be presenting to elementary schoolers in the Mount Vernon School District. So take it away, guys.
Hello everyone. We're a group of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders from LaVenture Middle School. We're in a program that's called Peer-to-Peer. We are trained in communication skills and topics related to substance use to help with stress and anxiety, along with other issues related to youth in Mount Vernon School District. The following is a presentation that we share with 5th graders. Thank you for your time and attention.
Hola a todos, somos estudiantes de sexto, séptimo y octavo grado de LaVenture Middle School, que tiene el objetivo a disminuir el uso de sustancias por parte de los estudiantes. Primero se identifica y selecciona estudiantes líderes que socialmente influyen de los grados sexto a octavo, que luego reciben entrenamiento en habilidades y técnicas de comunicaciones para que puedan comunicarse de manera efectiva con sus compañeros sobre temas relacionados con el uso de sustancias, estrés y la ansiedad, junto con otros temas relevantes para los estudiantes de Mount Vernon Distrito Escolar. Gracias por tu tiempo. We're going to talk about media literacy and the 5 key questions you need to ask to make sure you are practicing your media literacy. To start out, let's play a game. How this game works is a logo is going to pop up on the screen. You are going to call out the brand being represented by the logo on the screen. It will go fast, so pay attention.
Starbucks. Apple. TikTok. Subaru. Adidas. Pepsi. I have no idea. I don't know. No.
Raise your hand if you think you got at least a fourth of these brands. Keep them raised if you think you got at least half. Keep them raised if you think you got every single one. We know those brands because of advertising.
So what I would ask the 5th graders, I would ask them, what is advertising? And then they would tell me their answer, and then I would say, so what is the advertiser's goal? The advertiser's goal is to get you to purchase or become interested in the product that they're selling. Sometimes that might mean that they want to reach a younger audience, and I would use the kids as an example. Because if they can get a kid, let's say 9 or 10 years old, interested in like Dr. Pepper, at that young age, they're going to keep buying that. And that's a lot of money for like 10 years that they have a consistent person buying that.
How many ads do you think we see each and every day? We see between 4,000 and 10,000 ads every day. Isn't that surprising? We may not think about all the different ways advertising shows up in our lives. Look around the room and you're in. Logos on clothing, electronics, posters, social media ads, commercials. These are types of ads. Why so many ads, you may ask? Well, that's because they make us feel familiar with the brand or product that makes us want it and trust it. How much money do you think is spent on advertising in a typical year in the U.S.? In 2023, nearly $271 billion was spent on advertisements in the United States alone. Why would companies spend this much money on advertisements? Because it works. Companies make money when we buy their products. We choose to buy their products when we know about them. If advertisements didn't have an influence on us, then companies wouldn't spend that much money in 1 year alone on ads. So if companies are going to continue to spend this much money to try and influence us, and we're going to continue to see up to 10,000 ads each day, what can we do?
We can become media literate. Being media literate means being able to read and understand what is being said or written.
Thinking critically means we think beyond what we are being told or shown and ask ourselves if we trust and believe information we are being given. These key questions will help us improve our own media literacy. We can ask these 5 key questions to help us with any type of media or advertising. Once you start asking these questions, you might find that you can't see a message any other way. All right, let's get into it.
The first question we want to ask is who is the author? Who made this message?
How do we know? If there's a logo or a name, it might be easy. But for a YouTuber or an Instagram post, is the author just a person you see, or is it a company sponsoring or paying for the message?
Next slide. Sometimes it's not so obvious who the author may be. Who's behind this ad? It looks like it's for her own personal page, but this is really an ad for Fabletics.
See how in the caption it says #ad? This is actually an ad for Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts paid to do this. Do you think she would have posted it if she wasn't paid? Does knowing Dunkin' Donuts paid for this advertisement change how you see it?
No. Because we see so many ads, each creator is trying to find a way to stand out, get your attention, and make you remember their product. This could be through a combination of techniques designed to affect the way we think, feel, or behave. This influencer named Christina Zayas. This influencer named Christina Zayas was paid $1,000 for this Instagram post and a blog about why she uses Juul. She later came out and told her story and said she wasn't even a Juul user and she didn't like the way e-cigarettes made her feel. She said, "They liked my edgy style and that I appeared to the younger market."
In the recent years, many platforms have made features telling people that posts are sponsored, but it can still be tricky. Brands disguise ads in a form of clothing, TikTok challenges, and brand-made Snapchat filters. The next question we need to ask is, who is the audience for the ad? Who are the advertisers trying to reach with the message? Why would they choose that audience? If the companies are going to spend billions of dollars on advertisements, they want to pick who their message is for, and do they want to make the audience remember that ad?
Who do you think the audience is here? Probably young people, skaters, maybe people who like to be outside, or counterculture. This is an ad on Instagram, and they did use an influencer. One study by Ohio State University found that influencers get an amazing amount of attention, particularly from teens, young adults, and when they post about e-cigarettes, they typically make zero reference to the fact that the industry has paid them to make these posts.
This is a Canadian ad targeting teens. It uses vibrant colors, geometry, and wording to appeal to the younger market, and it's good for kids to know what is being advertised towards them so they know how they're being used.
Yeah, that one, next, yeah. And last but not least, what is the purpose of the ad? Why was this ad made? Would a company spend $1 billion for you to see the ad? Going back to who created the message, you can often guess the underlying motive or desire. But most often, the purpose is for you to buy their product. Actually, next.
Why was this ad made? Yes, it was to get people to buy the waffle pajamas. Yep, they really made those waffles for an Instagram post. That's how important advertising is to companies. So let's recap what the 5 key questions. Next, we want to analyze some advertisements using what we know about the 5 key questions.
I think there should be, yeah, skip and then skip the next one.
We have a question for you guys. Do ads have to be truthful? Next. No, wait, never mind, back one.
You're good.
When customers see or hear an advertisement, if it's on the internet, radio, or television, or anywhere else, federal laws say that ads must be truthful, not misleading. However, companies are very tricky and can manipulate these laws. Next. Vitamin water has about 30 grams of sugar in one bottle. Can it even be called water at this point? We all know that at this point in time that there isn't a known cure for cancer. So this ad is not truthful. Next. Bottom line, companies are trying to manipulate you into buying their product, and many companies target young people because they have lifelong customers. Okay, next. One more thing.
Why is it important to identify AI content? AI-generated images may advertise and create misinformation by portraying celebrities or political figures using or promoting substances they wouldn't otherwise use. Next. Here are some ways to identify AI content. It is important to recognize AI images that may make things seem cooler than they actually are in reality. We need to look at social media ads more critically. Think about who is showing us the message, what do they want, and how are they manipulating us. Next. Thank you and congrats on your steps to becoming more media literate. Do you have any questions?
Wow.
So I just wanted to say thank you for your support, and Richard Brocksmith has agreed to come along with our community coalition to represent the government sector. So he will be kind of giving us tips and ideas on things that we can be doing to engage the community. We're currently partnering with the Mount Vernon Police Department, Mount Vernon School District, and several other organizations that are serving at-risk youth. The main value of MV Hope is to inspire hope. And so that is kind of what we wanted to share with you today. There's a lot of hope in our youth, and we want to continue to foster that. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice job.
Nice job.
Thank you. That was outstanding, you guys. Great job. Thanks for doing what you're doing.
Not a chance I could have done that at that age. Not a chance.
I think Steve's loading up item B, which is a community court presentation.
Yes, it is. And to do that is Skagit County District Court Judge Jennifer Housen. Jennifer, or Judge, excuse me. That's your last one? Yes.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Donovan, council members.
Judge
Just wanna say-
Housen, this is a reverse, this is kind of strange.
Yes.
Welcome.
Where I sit in that chair. Never
Feel like I
followed.
should
be rising.
Yeah, please. Never follow children, you know? That's what they always say, but yet here I am. All right, so, good evening. I'm going to introduce myself first, and Jason, and then in a few moments, two of our probation counselors, there she is. Go ahead, will introduce yourselves and tell you a little bit about community court. We wanted to come in and address the council members because there are some new faces who may not be familiar with some of the court's activities and what we're doing in community court. I am Judge Jennifer Housen. I am the district and municipal court presiding judge, and that means for Anacortes, Mount Vernon, Burlington, and district court. So we developed a community court, which also we encompass with Cedro-Woolley. So courts of limited jurisdiction, for anybody who might not be super familiar, those are all your misdemeanor charges. So DUIs, domestic violence, assault charges, trespass, shoplifting, theft, third, all of those kinds of things. Any public walking in the streets without realizing that there's traffic there, all those kinds of things. Those are misdemeanor charges. We're in the located, this is our courtroom here when you guys are not here, for the city of Mount Vernon. And across the street in downtown Mount Vernon, across from the library, is the Superior Court building. That's where they have all the family law, the felony charges, and other civil matters and other things not related to what we do. So it's important to remember the part that we're the people's court. We always say that, and we're proud of that. We handle traffic infractions. So we meet the public in large numbers every single day. Our calendars can range from 10 to 150 cases every single day, day in, day out. And as I mentioned, this is the courtroom that we use, and we love it here. So I was on the bench. So I'm Jennifer Housen, as I said. This is Jason Corneliuson. He is our community court coordinator, and he's going to introduce himself in a moment, and then later they will. I went on the bench in 2017 after a long career as an attorney. Within weeks, I realized that there was, as I'm sure all of you realize, a revolving door in and out of the jail, and there was zero progress being made. I was seeing the same people for misdemeanor charges, for theft, shoplift, trespass, drug possession, all of those things. On a daily basis, I'd see the same person the next morning after I'd just released them the day before. Frustrating, and I really went out in search across the nation for something that I could do to make a difference in that regard. You should know, so that you can compare it to what we do here, that for the last 200 years, misdemeanor charges of those nature that I described carried a penalty of $150 and no jail. So that's part of why the revolving door continued. And it's, as you all know, extremely expensive to use the jail as how you handle those kind of cases. And part of the problem was that people, 98% of the people in the jail are addicted to drugs and alcohol or other forms of poverty, as well as a big influencer. So what I did was look across the country, see what there was available, found this model of therapeutic court. Our legislature has, you'll see this, will you click from you to the next? So you'll see the RCW 230030. That's the formulation for the statutory basis for a therapeutic court. Therapeutic court is just as different from the traditional adversarial model as you can get. Typical adversarial model is a prosecutor, a defense attorney, judge. Judge sits on high, wears a black robe, and issues edicts. We have an arraignment, and then maybe 45 days later, you'll have a hearing, and then maybe a year or two down the road, after maybe 9 to 10 different hearings, you'll have a disposition on a shoplifting charge, where the penalty will be $150. That just looked just as inefficient as you could possibly get. People that don't have a lot of money, don't have a lot of support in the community for their well-being, don't come to court often. And so they'd get warrants, and that's how they'd land in jail. So the therapeutic model is individualized. It is different. I don't wear my robe when I preside over the therapeutic court. I sit at a table, and you can kind of see that in the one photo there. That's our team. We sit around a table, and I talk to the participant, which I call a participant instead of a defendant, and we talk about what led them to engage in the behavior that brought them to me. And then we find out what the solution might be, and on the very first day of court, we have the room filled with treatment providers, evaluators, social workers, housing specialists, whatever we can bring into the courtroom. So on the very first day, we connect those two, whatever their needs are. Then we see them, we make an appointment with them to see them that Friday, and everyone we designed this court so it's a centralized team of people who move around to each municipal court each day of the week. So everybody in Skagit County, for example, let's say you had a possession of drug charges. If you had it in Concrete, if you had it in Anacortes, everyone's treated the same and is also given the same resources, so we can help everyone. They enter into a stipulated order of continuance, and that's where they agree to the underlying charges that they committed those, but they're agreeing to go to treatment. It's completely voluntary, and so on that very first day, they enter into agreement. One of the benefits from a financial standpoint is that there's no trial then, and there's no 1 year, 2 year, 3 years down the road. So the stipulated order sets forth their conditions. It's an agreement with the court, and it usually involves getting housing, getting treatment, getting mental health. So then the team of probation officers that you're going to meet in a few moments stays in regular contact with them. Again, this is all contrasted against the $150 fine from the previous example. So we have contact with all of our participants on a monthly basis. If they're in high need at the beginning of the program, it can be daily, it can be weekly, and we have all kinds of protections in place so we can add some accountability, some support, and we focus on mental health, housing, and drug and alcohol treatment. So that, in a nutshell, is what it is, and you can ask any questions in a few moments, and I'll turn it over to Jason Corneliuson to introduce himself briefly and talk about our goals.
Yes, hello, good afternoon, good evening, Mayor Donovan and council members. As Judge Housen said, my name is Jason Corneliuson. I am the Community Court Program Coordinator. I've been with the program for about the last 5 months. Prior to that, I worked in adult felony drug courts, both in Skagit and Snohomish County. And before that, I worked in housing case management with Cocoon House in Everett. I'm very excited to be a part of this program and this team. I was over at the felony drug court program with Superior Court and started hearing about what Judge Housen and the team were doing over there, and I was just really excited to join up and become a part of it. The goals of our program, as you see on the screen, first and foremost to promote community safety. To do that, we aim to reduce recidivism and substance use among our offenders in our program. To do that, we use treatment, probation supervision, and then, when appropriate, sanctions and incentives to aid in behavior management and improve a participant's chances of success. A unique aspect of our program, and one of the things that makes it so special, is that a huge component is identifying each individual's specific needs and what areas they need support in order to be successful. That could be substance use disorder treatment, mental health treatment, housing, employment, education, help getting their driver's license back, help getting an ID, help getting health insurance. A lot of different ways that we can offer support. In order to identify those needs, every new potential participant to our program at their first arraignment hearing sits down for a one-on-one meeting with a probation officer where we use the CCAT, which is the Criminal Court Assessment Tool, which is developed by the Center for Justice Innovation. It's a short screener where we go through a multi-page questionnaire and just kind of get to the bottom of what's going on with this person's life, what their history is like in terms of prior charges, drug use, current drug use, mental health issues. And based on that, we create the stipulated order of continuance that Judge Housen referenced, where we write out the specific individual requirements for that person in the program. That's also used to determine the length of time they'll be in the program, which can range anywhere, at this point, from 6 to 24 months. All drug charges coming in are automatically 24 months in program. We just assume they're going to need that level of care and that length of time to complete whatever level of treatment our providers deem necessary, whether that's starting with inpatient, moving to intensive outpatient, and so forth. And then if you check the bottom of the screen there, participants' successful completion of the program leads to the dismissal of their charges and decreases their chances of recidivism. Every single participant who walks through the door is provided access to resources. On whatever scale that is determined by our assessments and their individual needs, but every person is provided with access to resources that are going to improve their quality of life.
So the charges that we cover in community court, we don't handle anything that involves driving, so no DUIs, no driving charges. But you can see on the left there the most common charges, and we see those every single week, and 20 to 30 to 40 of those every single week, every single Tuesday. One of the reasons I wanted to come here tonight and address all of you is to tell you, first of all, we're not here to ask for anything. We are here to share with you that you are leaders across the country. So this is the first court that's designed in this way, where we have a centralized team that goes around to each area and that covers the whole county. Second, you are leaders in supporting us, and we have we have great support from law enforcement and the embedded social workers and the navigators. But we have created a diversion court, which is also consistent with the new, you might have heard it as referred to as the Blake Law, but it's the new drug possession law, which provides for diversion to a diversion court. So we are a diversion court. We call it community court. And the benefit of the diversion court is that it's much more conducive. It's a therapeutic approach. So people tend to want to show up more. They're less in fear to show up more. We can go off the record and talk about we have all kinds of people breaking down in different realms because they're all the people in the community that you hear about that are in high need. We have the highest need here in Mount Vernon, and they are all coming over in droves when they didn't come to this courtroom because they were afraid of the adversarial. They were afraid of going to jail. They were afraid of the system. And so we have a diversion court. We have what's called direct citing, where the officers can cite the person straight to the diversion court and take advantage of these opportunities. What is the benefit of that? Time again. So the most successful cases that we have for those most common charges on the left there is immediacy. And if we can get to assisting them right away. And not every court in even our jurisdiction recognizes the importance of doing that, but Mount Vernon does. And your prosecutors are exceptional at that. And the fact that you have two is really helpful. Like our caseloads are burgeoning, and that's good because you're having success. You're not having the expense of the incarceration and the jail time. So those are the charges. You can see what's ineligible right there. You can see what kind of people are not allowed into the program because we just don't have the ability to assist them at this time. So that's what you have there.
Just to speak briefly about funding, currently our program is almost entirely grant funded. Last year we received a 4-year grant from BJA, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Department of Justice, about $900,000 over 4 years. And then we were also awarded a 1-year renewable grant through the Administrative Office of the Courts. We just applied for our first renewal period and should be getting our award letter by Friday. Fingers crossed, but there's no reason to believe we'll receive any less funding this year than we did last year. That goes to pay for literally every aspect of the program, my salary, the PO salaries, the burgers we serve at our Friday barbecue, the staples and the staplers, you name it. Every element of the program is paid for with these grants. There is, because we provide probation services across 5 jurisdictions, we do build the cities for those probation services a small amount, so that is a small piece as well. And then we also receive a small grant from True Blood, which is managed by North Sound Behavioral Health, which helps us pay for recovery support services such as gift cards for groceries, travel expenses to and from treatment, hygiene products, clothes, our food pantry, things like that. But proud to say that as of right now, we are entirely grant funded and don't expect that to change anytime soon.
And the other factor that he's mentioning there is when you have traditional probation, which you would have for anybody with domestic violence or assault, or if the charges we do cover are high need and you had a probation officer, that is all much more expensive. So that costs the city would pay much more for a traditional probation officer, and the scale is really, really low comparatively. So this is our most exciting statistics to show you, and if you can see there on the right side of the screen, this is the difference between the fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year. And if you look at the growth in Mount Vernon, that is exceptional, and has been with no increase in costs. So we have doubled the amount of participants for those charges. So that's exciting. And part of the reason that's happening is because law enforcement is beginning to recognize how successful this is, and you're going to see some of those statistics in a moment. But you can see the graduations are staying steady. That's how many people successfully complete all of their obligations and graduate from the program. You can see how many people up there, how exponentially it has grown, because as we learn how to provide somebody with targeted services. So that's substance use treatment, referrals, mental health treatment, housing assistance, and employment. So you can see how dramatic we're growing, and we could double that again. It grows every week, so it's exciting. And then you can see again another formulation of referrals. So, and I'll just show you really briefly where you can find us in case you're interested. I do want to introduce the 2 of the probation officers that have joined us so you can see what the grant monies are supporting. And so go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
Good evening. My name is Jamie Presley, and I'm a probation officer with Community Court. I started in April of this year. Prior to starting here, I worked in law enforcement with Mount Vernon Police Department and Skagit County Sheriff's Office. So I'm happy to get started here.
How you guys doing? My name is Ryan Levizo. I come to you from Chicago. Just moved here in April. Very happy to be here. I specifically came here because of what Judge Housen has going on with the community court program. I was a probation officer in Chicago for 4 years. I was able to see Chicago is pretty progressive in their own right with probation, but I was able to see the things that needed to be improved. For instance, if a client was homeless and was busting out of their shoes or needed a blanket or something like that, I would have to go on Instagram and ask my friends if somebody had a pair of shoes or something. With this program, we have the resources that are able to help the clients and give them a sense of pride, and really help them get back on their feet. I'd just like to tell you a story about one of the clients. His name is Victor. He's a 40-something-year-old man. He came to us addicted to drugs, homeless, looking disheveled, not making eye contact, and just looking like a hopeless man. We've worked with him as a team, collaboratively, all the probation officers in the office, and we were finally able to get him some housing. And I will never forget the first day he came back into the office after he had a place to stay. He looked like a whole new man. He looked like he just went through an extreme makeover reality show. He was smiling from ear to ear. He was well kept. He looked like a man that was ready to take on the rest of his life and ready to pick up his life and be successful. So I'd just like to stress to you that these resources that we are able to provide them are serious, they're meaningful, and they make a huge impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to share any?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll share a story from actually today's community court. We had a participant in, and she was a person that was unhoused and in active addiction for many years. Today, she told us that she is now housed. She had a bed to sleep in last night. She took a shower before she had court. She was absolutely ecstatic to be there, and she's actively engaged in treatment as well.
And most of these individuals have long, lengthy, sometimes multi-page criminal histories. So we're trying to tackle the hardest cases, and that you'll see when we get to statistics makes the road increasingly difficult. But I first wanted to share some of our community partners. And as I said, Mount Vernon Police and the embedded social workers, but you can see how many people we work with, and many of those people are present in the courtroom with us, and that's the big difference maker. And then because I'm anticipating what the most common question I get when I meet with folks such as you is, what's your success rate? That's the number one question. So Jason here has, I can provide these to you in packets for you. And then I'll just walk you through those, and then we'll take any questions when we finish, all right? So you can see over the years, as you descend down page 1, that the number of participants is growing exponentially again. You can see 171 participants in, that's just in Mount Vernon alone. So we have 5 courts, so we are busy. You can see the rate of recidivism, as you all know, is if a person gets new charges. So if you turn to the next page, you can just see a graph of, that's just participants. When you turn to the third page, you'll see in 2021, you can see that we had a very high, far exceeding the national average, people that did not receive any new charges after 6 months. That's how you define success, if you will, and 14% had new charges. You can't find that number anywhere. In 2021, 12 months passed. You can see you have a little increase. 22% had new charges. That's 60 to 70% above the national average. Now it gets more difficult when you flip the page and you go to 2022. What happened in 2022? Drug charges. So prior to that, there was no prosecution for drug possession or drug use in public. So those are obviously difficult cases to handle. So you can see right away, we knew that was going to be a more difficult task, and you can see it reflected in the statistics. Still, no new criminal charges after 6 months, 60% is excellent, high above the high average. And then in 2022, a year later, you can see that it's still a difficult battle, but you can still see success. And remember, all of that's compared to absolutely nothing prior to that. So just everyone was left to take fentanyl and cause all the havoc that you hear about on a regular basis. When you get to 2023, you can see again that you can see the increase. What happened in 2023? That's when I doubled and increased my funding. I could see that the model that I basically dreamed in my head and looked around for was working. And so I went out and I increased the level of supervision so that there'd be more hands-on. And I brought in these very qualified individuals, and I have 4 of them. And the other 2 are equally as impressive as these 2. And so dramatically, my success rate, of the recidivism rate, was much, much better. So you can see that again in 2023. So that's, in a nutshell, what you can see there. We continue to learn. We continue to, for example, bring just more active participation, like with the Jwalik. They want to join us in the courtroom. That will add a whole new level of success to us. So the last is we're very proud of I want to call it a movie, but it's a movie made by your own folks here in the city of Mount Vernon. It's on Channel 10, if I'm saying that right. And that, if you scan that QR code, it's a 10-minute movie about community court. You'll see it follows the life of a graduate from his jail. So the first pictures you see are him in the jail, and then it goes all the way to now he's employed, and he's contributing to our community in a number of ways. So, he comes back as an alumni mentor, and so that's, if you want to watch that, that would be excellent. And now, if you have any questions.
Got one. Did you say 24 months or 24 weeks?
24 months for possession of
Gotcha.
drug charges.
Okay.
Or people with extensive history. So we have some of the severely mentally ill, and we have a lot of dual diagnosis as well. So it takes us, so we try to factor that in. So 24 months.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a particular question to you, Judge. How old they have to be to join your program?
How what?
How old they have to be?
So 18.
18.
Yeah.
The question is because we've been having a few issues in the school district for young kids. They just run away from home. And sometimes even when we report them to the police department and they find them, but they are running away. And the parents always been asking about programs, how we can send those kiddos just to protect them for many dangers are, because they are in the social media, Instagram, and posting that, difficult things. Then I was wondering if they were being...
I don't have any jurisdiction over juveniles, so that is all in the Superior Court across the street.
Yeah.
And so you could talk with them about any programming. Well, I know that we want to do public education and go out to some of the schools. One of the best parts about our court is that it is early intervention before people commit felonies.
Exactly.
And other things. And so we would love to do some community speaking about that and however it could work, but I don't have any jurisdiction to supervise juveniles.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions for Judge Housen or the team?
Well, thank you very much. And what can we do to support you, if anything?
I think you, as I said, you're leading the pack in support. And so I would tell you that having your 2 prosecutors that you have, it makes it beneficial. We have gone from 1 court date to 2 court dates, and it can only grow from there. And so just to be aware of that. Support and have law enforcement support the direct citing because it is more successful. Spokane initiated a program like this many, many years ago, and they have the direct citing, and the statistics are off the charts how much more successful it is than traditional court. So supporting the direct citing, and we would like to bring some of the law enforcement officers that work on the streets to come into our graduations. And to be a part of our team. And also our future is to bring community members, the stores that are affected, and bring them into our advisory board. So I don't have anything specific for you to do. I just wanted you to know what we're doing and how exponentially it's growing and the success rate. So
when she says we are all leaders across the country, she's not just overstating it. She's telling the truth. Like I said, I come from Chicago. I've researched a bunch of different probation departments across the country. What we're doing here is very special. It's called community court, and the community aspect is a huge part. I'm sure if all of you would imagine if you had a drug addiction and you had no family members, and you had no resources, and you had no idea what to do. You obviously wouldn't have a clear mind because you're addicted to drugs and you have no idea where to go. That's what we're here for, to be that community, to be their guide, and to show them that we really care. And that really makes a difference, changing their life around and making sure they're not back in the criminal justice system.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you very
that
much.
awesome work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to past council members as well for your support in investigating this, getting this going, and City Attorney Kevin Rogerson was advocating for that early on, I remember, as well.
Thank you.
Good to hear about that program. Item C tonight is a resolution for the approval of a grant application for a new skate park in Mount Vernon. That's awesome. Parks Director Jennifer Berner is here to present this item. Hello, Jennifer.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Let me see, I was wondering, I was going to make a request, if we could just flip the two agenda items, because we do have our folks here who've been waiting a little bit. If we could do the art donation resolution first, so we could get to them, and then I'd be happy to do the other one, if that's okay with the council.
Know that we need formal action to do something like that. Item D tonight is a resolution to support the donation of a sign for the Valley of Our Spirits totem sculpture. Jennifer.
Perfect. I'm just going to introduce a little bit, and then you guys can, have a 2 minutes to share with the council all the great things that you guys talked about a little bit on Monday night. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So a group of, I know that some of these folks have been before you before, but I wanted to make sure that we gave special recognition now that the project is complete to our Leadership Skagit group here. They came forward to us and said they would like to do a project to help support and give some recognition to our Valley of the Spirits totem. We call it a totem, but I learned Monday night that it's not a totem. So I will let them share and speak to that. But it was a really interesting process to be able to go through. We all got to learn a little bit. And Monday night, they had a wonderful presentation out at the Riverwalk. And there was a nice crowd of about 50 folks out there. And there's a really nice signboard now that's out there, and that is this right here. Let's see if we can get anyway, it's the one on the left. And it's a large signboard that is out there that will help educate folks along the way about just this particular art piece and our tribal heritage here and along the coast. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our folks here of the Leadership Skagit team. They can tell you a little bit about the project, what they've gone through, and we'll just kind of go from there and see what they'd like to share.
Thank you. Titsqualo Qual Tudstal Til All Skagit. My name is Laura Pennington. I'm an elder from the Upper Skagit tribe, and my very dear cousin, Jay Bowen, is he's the one that began this project along with 2 other artists. We have a long history here, of course, and we're always glad to have a good relationship with all of the new people who have come. But our ancestors the traditions are literally thousands of years old. A story pole is different. Totem poles are from our cousins to the north, and they are very specific. Even the shapes within a totem pole, they're actually geometric and very clear mathematical structures within the art. Ours are much more like our traditions here. We are river Salish, not coast Salish. It's a small band of it. And so this story pole tells a lot about the healing that has been available here in this alley, or this valley for generations. And it will bring conversation and will also open up the shared history that we have with the new people who have come. And so hopefully we can start building community together instead of separately. And so this story pole has Lachute seed on it, and it starts off with welcoming to each and every person who comes to this story pole. It's been a long journey for this. I don't know how many folks that I have shown the story pole from across the world. And it is an impressive piece of art, but it's also a clear process to bring healing to all the communities and bring us together. And the cohort that brought all this to action, they're amazing. Just a dynamic group of women who brought heart and soul to this. I am delighted to know each and every one of them. And this sign, I will tell you, the first thing I did was cry. It's beautiful. So, who else would like to?
You guys saw us earlier in the year, and so I just wanted to say thank you again. Thank you, Mayor Peter Donovan. Thank you, City Council, for your support in this, and the Mount Vernon Arts Commission, as well as Parks and Enrichment Services as well, to help us install it. That was a big major part of the support needed to do this, and just want to say thank you, and I'm happy to have been able to contribute to the community.
So with this is, we are treating the sign as a donation of art. We see it as a piece of artwork. And so we have to formally accept this as a donation of art. And we want to recognize that through the resolution. And so you have that attached here this evening, and what staff is requesting for council to accept the donation of the Valley of Our Spirits new sign and approval for the mayor to sign the donation resolution.
All right, so council, is there a motion? I'm assuming, Becky, can you help me with this? It was originally to be 10:57. Do we need to go 10:56 since we swapped the order, or can we leave the number?
We should swap the numbers.
Okay. Council, is there a motion to support resolution 1056?
So noted.
Second.
All right, a motion by Councilmember Beaton, a second by Councilmember Carillas. Any discussion?
No, thank you very much for the lovely sign and the hard work that you put into this. Really appreciate it. It actually happened.
Well done. All those in favor of approving resolution 1056, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you all very much for your work on this.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, council, for switching those two items here for us. You were very patient. Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
just for clarification, we're going back now to what was item C, the skate park
Yes.
resolution. Please go ahead.
So this is very exciting. I think I presented to you and let you know that we were put in for a skate park grant. So it was a pre-application. It was evaluated, and through that evaluation process, we were asked to move on to the final evaluation process. So not everybody who applied got to move forward. So we were able to move forward with this, and we scored really quite well at where we fell within our region of, they've divided it into 4 different regions for funding. And so we were towards the top part of the middle. So we did really well in that first round. So we'll keep that score, and then whatever we pull together with this next round, we'll go for, it'll come couple together for our final score. So the timing on all of this is we have to submit our grant. I just got an email today. They've extended it to June 24th. It was June 20th. And so it's due to them on June 24th. They go through a variety of evaluation process. We won't know anything until October. So it's a long wait, but sometime towards the end of October, we should have a response back as to what that funding is. There's 2 funding rounds with this particular grant. So the first funding round will be notified sometime the end of October, 1st of November. And then in 2025, they will have a second funding round. And so if we don't make it through in the first round of funding in October, there's a good possibility we might be able to make it through in that second round of funding. So with that, we needed to come to council, and which you guys are familiar with, we brought this to you before, is the application resolution authorization form that says you as council are aware that we are going for this grant. It is a non-match grant, however, for the amount that we could request and the amount that the skate park will actually end up costing us, we will have a contribution of $185,000. Of that, our Kiwanis Club has said that they have $35,000 that they are willing to put towards the skate park project. So that leaves us with $150,000, which we can cover through our parks capital funds. And we hope to actually meet with a couple other community groups and see if we can raise a little bit more money, knowing that this won't get funded. If we make it through in October, they will come to us in January with an actual agreement for funding. So we have some time to work on that funding piece. If we don't end up getting funded, I don't like saying that, I like to say positive, but if for some reason we don't end up getting funded at all, we will at least have good solid momentum going forward, and we can continue to look for other grants and things to help us with this project. But with that, I wanted to bring to you guys the resolution for staff is request council to approve the Recreation Conservation Office Community Outdoor Athletic Facilities Grant Resolution and authorize the listed individuals to pursue the RCO grant that is identified.
All right, any questions for Jennifer?
I think it's just a great project. It'd be great to see this get wheels and get going. So I move to pass resolution 1056.
1057 for this one.
Oh, that's right. 1057.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Molinar, and a second by Councilmember Hudson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Resolution 1057 passes.
One thing on that I forgot to mention too is that as we are looking at designing this, it is being designed as an all-wheeled sport, so it's not just for skateboards. We're looking at scooters, we're looking at inline skates, we're looking at wheelchairs. So we are looking at how it can be incorporated for all-wheeled users, and that's in the planning stages that we're looking at and what we're trying to develop with this particular new skate park.
Motorized? No.
Probably not. That might be a little dangerous.
I mean, you got e-bikes now. I just wonder what that looks like.
So expanding beyond skate park, or skates,
Yes.
skateboards.
Yes.
Council, did that change anyone's mind? I hope not.
Please, no.
All right.
That's why I waited. No, sorry.
Hopefully you'll be able to provide other, park accoutrements where we can bring, families together so that it's, and I know you're looking at this stuff already, picnic tables and places for people to bring their families, and another great amenity. So thanks for putting another feather in the community's cap, Jennifer.
Absolutely. It's fun to be able to work on these kinds of projects,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
All right. Item E is an agreement with Midpack Construction for the resurfacing of tennis courts at Hillcrest Park. Jennifer.
Yes, so the city applied for and received a deferred maintenance grant from RCO, and with that is, as part of that deferred maintenance grant in our Phase 2. So Phase 1, we are just finishing up Phase 1 of our construction projects, and Phase 2 we'll be able to start with in July. We'll be getting a new contract from RCO to get us through Phase 2. because they have the fiscal year that's slightly off of our calendar year. So this is Phase 2. It'll be $57,300 worth of work that we'll be doing in Phase 2, and part of that is for the actual resurfacing of the tennis courts. And with that, we have a contract in line to start that work as soon as we get the approval from RCO with their agreement. So this work will be part of Phase 2 work, and the total cost for resurfacing the two tennis courts at Hillcrest is $35,700. The RCO grant will fund $30,000 of that, and the remaining $5,750 will be paid out of our parks repairs and maintenance line item that we have the money in there to be able to cover that. So with that, staff is requesting approval for the mayor to enter into an agreement with Mid-Pac Construction for resurfacing the tennis courts at Hillcrest Park. These are the folks who did the pickleball courts, resurfaced the pickleball courts. So they do really good work, and they are familiar with our tennis courts here.
Great. Questions for Jennifer on the tennis court resurfacing? Or a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mary, second by Gary. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion passes. Item F is a street closure request for the Colshan Street Fair. Jennifer.
Yes, so this is an event that happens every year, and it's happening again this summer, which is great. And we have Officer Serrano, who would like to facilitate a neighborhood festival hosted by the Colshan Creek Apartment Managers and the Colshan Creek Neighborhood Station, and invite all the nearby residents to socialize throughout the neighborhood and establish a greater sense of community and ownership. The request is to close the 1300 block of North 26th Street and the 2500 block of Colshan Avenue from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, June 24th, and on Saturday, August 12th. Officer Serrano will be on site during the entire event and will open and close the streets and be there in case of an emergency. So staff recommends council approve the closure of the 1300 block of North 26th Street and the 2500 block of Colshan Avenue from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, June 24th, and on Saturday, August 12th. Excuse me.
Any questions on the street closure for Jennifer?
No, I would like to move.
I'll second. I would strongly suggest that anybody who hasn't been should go, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of food there, good food.
A lot of really good food.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Carillas, a second by Councilmember Hudson. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Motion passes. All right, Jennifer, you are on a roll of closing down streets.
We just got them all on one night.
Yeah, this one's for the Edgewater Park fireworks show on the 4th.
So we will be hosting the annual 4th of July fireworks show again this year. And it happens out at Edgewater Park. And we invite also on the Riverwalk. So we get probably more, if not equal to what's in Edgewater over on the Riverwalk watching this event as well. And so what we have found is it's best if we close down South Ball Street between West Division Street and South Baker Street from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. On Thursday, July 4th. We make this a pedestrian-only route. As soon as all of the pedestrians have cleared, then we do, upon the police giving us the okay, we do that, open that up, and then we allow for people to exit from the campground parking lot and open up two ways as soon as we can. But we close it to get all the pedestrians out first safely, and then we open it up later on. So staff recommends council approve the closure of South Ball Street between West Division Street and South Baker Street for the 4th of July fireworks show.
Council, questions, concerns?
I would move to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Andrew, a second by Melissa, and Gary's got a question to open up discussion.
So if I'm looking at this right, the boat launch, is that gonna,
We
that'll be
close
closed?
that down starting at 6 o'clock, and so we put a sign up notifying everybody.
At night or morning?
Night.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes,
That should
yeah.
be good.
So it's available during the day, and we have Skagit County Search and Rescue that is out on the water during the fireworks, because that's part of our zone that we have to keep clear during the fireworks.
Perfect.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to close the street for the 4th of July fireworks, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed say no. And it passes. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Item H is an agreement with RAMP for Purchasing Card Program, and City Finance Director Doug Valesky is here for this item. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. So the city currently uses Elan Financial Services for our P-card program. And it's really the process that we go about on getting approvals and getting receipts into the system and the whole thing. It's very time consuming for not only the employee, but also the financial staff and each department that has to go and approve all those things. There's also doesn't receive any kind of rebate for using this program. So RAM Purchasing Card Program, it provides for immediate receipt capture, expense management with approving purchases, and several other automations that we currently do not have with our current program. So just name some of the features of RAMP. It's extremely easy for employees to use and capture receipts. As soon as they swipe their card, they'll get a text message or an email, but a text message to take a picture right there of that receipt, and it goes right up in the system, and it's there, and it moves for approval. Also, if they don't upload a receipt, they get reminded for the next coming through whatever days we do, like two or 3 days, and if after that, if there's still no receipt, their card automatically shuts off, and they're not allowed to use it until they get their receipts in. It also aligns with our policies. We have policies for what we can use our purchasing cards for. And so just for like an example, if you're traveling and you go to a restaurant and you also have some alcoholic beverages and then you swipe your card, it automatically takes off the alcoholic beverages. They're not allowed to go through. So, and we have several limitations that we can use our purchasing cards for, and those can all just be put right in the system, so we're pretty excited about that. And then mainly, the other thing that's really good is that we get a 1.5% rebate on every transaction that is made. There is an annual fee based on the number of cards issued, estimated to be around $24,000 a year after a governmental discount. The cost of the purchasing card program will be offset, though, by this 1.5% rebate made on card purchases. And then the last, excuse me, my mind just kind of went blank. The last council meeting of this month during Finance Committee will be bringing forward a budget amendment. I will include the budget amendment for this too to get included in there. So we're really excited. It's going to be much faster and easier for staff and also the department admins and the financial staff as well. So we're asking for approval and agreement with RAMP Business Corporation in the amount of $24,000 for a new purchasing card program.
Council questions for Doug?
I have a question, Doug.
Yes.
How much are we paying now for the purchase card program that we have?
There is no cost with it. It's just with the bank.
Okay.
We're hoping to think we can start using our cards for, our AP for a lot of our invoices that we do. There's a lot of vendors that don't allow using purchasing cards, but the ones we can, so I'm hoping to use that more and more and more. And this should be a moneymaker for, I'm not talking a lot, but,
Right. Okay.
right now, at where we're using our card right now, we should pretty much break even, go a little over, but if we can start using it for a lot of our AP vendors and stuff like that right now too, we should be able to start maybe bringing some
It saves
revenue.
time with that, too, with your APs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I'd
Council,
move
I
to
would
approve.
entertain a motion. Oh, another comment? Or motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Andrew, second by Melissa. Any more discussion? Doug, thanks for finding a more efficient way to do city business. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. It Passes. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Item I is an agreement with Associated Earth Sciences for the installation of a water monitoring well. And there's Public Works Director Chris Phillips, and not even on Zoom.
Right on. Yeah,
Welcome.
thank you. Thanks. Good to be back there, Mayor. Good evening, council. If I heard Finance Director Valesky, is the savings going to be close to about 54 million for library commons? No, okay.
Try some to get some.
That's it. We'll make sure we do that. So, Mayor, I'm actually here to talk about Associated Earth Sciences. It's an amendment to the current contract that we have with them. Staff requests the City Council authorize the mayor to approve the professional services agreement amendment number 1 with Associated Earth Sciences for consulting services related to a monitoring of the slope between the upper and lower Skagit Highland Ponds. The cost of this amendment is $39,900. As you all know, the Skagit Highlands Pond was installed back in 2006. City observed some cracking in the slope between the upper and lower ponds in 2012 and have continually monitored the slope since the cracking was noticed. We've installed 2 inclinometers and a groundwater monitoring well, and has been monitoring the Skagit Highland Pond since September of 2022. So the idea that we'd like to install one additional 40-foot groundwater monitoring will help us better assess the site conditions that are there. We'll get reports on a quarterly basis, and then we'll be reporting those back, just watching for trend analysis. So city staff is requesting your approval of the professional services agreement amendment with Associated Earth Sciences Incorporated, which will give the city additional information to determine if any future actions are required for the stability of the ponds.
Council will take questions or motions.
I've got a question.
Yeah, no more.
In our budget, is this, where do these funds come from? Or are they, is it something that we had budgeted for?
Yes, so this is in our surface water funding that would be for this. And think of that as an enterprise fund, so it's a mini general fund that's in there. We are relegated by our good friend, Finance Director Valesky, to maintain a certain balance for that. So we're within those funding streams and, again, well within the budgeted balance.
I'm so sorry, I do have another question, if it's all right.
Don't be sorry.
Oh, it's been a long day, I think we can all recognize that. When that was installed, just like any other piece of infrastructure, I'm assuming that the contractor, the builder, the developer put that in, and then is that then deeded to the city as an obligation?
Correct. And again, back in 2006, when this was put in, it would go through the Development Services Department. So as you know, there's an engineering functionality in there for the permitting of that. It would have went through years of review and engineering on that. Again, we have seen no degradation. This is strictly a monitoring situation at this juncture. But again, we put the inclinometers in. It's been very minimal movement there. We had a ground well test that's already there. No significant movement there. This is just going a little bit deeper just to ensure that, again, we've got all our bases covered to make an informed decision if in the future something happens.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yes, sir.
With that, I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
By Councilmember Vanderstoep, second by Councilmember Molinar. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item J is a project acceptance for Hoagland Venture Intersection Improvements Project. Chris?
All right, thank you, Mayor. Staff recommends council authorize the mayor to accept the work completed by Excavation West on the Hoagland Venture Intersection Improvement Project. Physical completion was achieved back in February 15th of this year in accordance with the plans and specifications. The final adjusted project amount was $868,087.57. The city received TIB funding in the amount of $943,825. So again, doing that higher level public math, we came in under, and so that's a good thing. Staff is recommending the council accept the work performed by Excavation West for the Hoagland Venture Intersection Improvement Project, pending any of your questions.
All right, then, motions.
So moved.
Second. No, please, Iris.
Okay.
I've done enough.
It's okay.
Second by, I'm gonna give it to Councilmember Cadeas, because you had the last one. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, item K. It's the approval of an agreement with OTAC for development of a public participation plan for the city's comprehensive plan update. There's Stacy Pratchner, city's Development Services Director. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Council and Mr. Mayor. So this evening, DS has provided a draft contract and scope of services for OTAC. They're the firm that we would respectfully request that the Council consider for the city's consultant for supporting us, not just in the public participation plan, but the entirety of completing the periodic update of the comprehensive plan. City Council will recall, for those of you who were here last year, that the money for the consultant was part of the 2024 budget approval. And in addition, we have a funding stream through a non-competitive grant through the Department of Commerce as well. This request is a result of an RFQ process similar to the other ones that you've reviewed this evening. And as Council knows, the Growth Management Act requires fully planning communities like Mount Vernon to periodically update their plans in order to effectively plan for 20 years of growth. Our update is due to the state at the end of 2025, and you'll see in OTAC's proposed scope of work that they anticipate that timeline as well. Maybe we'll get it done a little sooner. So the consultant's responsibilities in summary are to work with City Council and specifically with Development Services as well as other staff to promulgate that robust public engagement, to help and support City Council in formulating its new goals and policies, make sure that we're in compliance with the legislation, and then also to support the programmatic portion, which is going to be when we start writing the implementing code for the updated goals and policies. So you can see OTAC's team includes folks with expertise in land use planning, economics, GIS, engineering, etc. They're going to update the HOVI study for us as well. So in conclusion, respectfully, I would recommend that Council consider authorizing the mayor to sign the contract between OTAC and the city for purposes of supporting the periodic update of the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. It's a big one. Council questions?
Best for last.
No, having had the opportunity to review all the applicants and how great OTAC's presentation was, excited to make a motion to approve, authorize the mayor to approve the agreement with OTAC.
Sorry. A motion by Councilmember Brocksmith and a second by Councilmember Vanderstoop. Tie goes to the Vanderstoop in this one. Any discussion? All right. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion passes. For item 7, I will ask the city attorney, Kevin
Thank you,
Rogerson,
Council.
to first pause dramatically, then tell us whether or not there is a executive session.
No.
And with that, we will adjourn the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for Wednesday, June 12th, 2024 at 8:40 p.m.